Hey everyone, welcome back to Bear's Workshop. We are here for the 162nd flyover of the Lucid factory. And I hope you guys are ready for today's flyover because we saw more stuff. More stuff. I wanted to talk about the cars today. Oh, my hair's a mess. Fired my makeup artist. My fault. But we are ready to take a look at that. iMelt says hello, and Steve is here. Lucid would be the best luxury car built and sold for 2023 and next 2024. Well, that remains to be seen. We're gonna have to see if they can get the cars out. Um, there's always going to be that worry until they get these cars delivered, whether or not they're going to be the best, and that is part of it. It's not just having a great car, there's execution of getting the car out. So that's part of the problem that I'm seeing. But we've got questions about whether or not all those cars and where they're going, and we've been talking about that on different chats and different live streams. Are these cars just sitting here? For what reason? Are they going to Saudi Arabia? Why aren't they being delivered? So we did a little bit of digging into the cars themselves. Not a lot, but just some evidence of what we see on these cars, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. I want to share that with all you guys and see what you guys think, and I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I think even before. All right, so we got 41 people on. Good start for this stream, at least. It's we don't have thousands yet. But let's hit that like button so that this gets shared out to more people so we can get those numbers higher. So please, please do hit that like button and share it if you want. Maybe you got a friend who likes Lucid too. So we're going to start off by just recapping the stock price because we're waiting for people to get on. It's called a stall tactic. All right. So here we go. We closed at 11.53, down 4 cents. After hours is up 6 cents. It's already come back. High today was 12.15. The low was 11.40. And slightly breezy conditions and a chance of snow. So we closed yesterday at 11.57. So not much movement there. Everything was up right at the beginning of the day, and then it kind of steadied out. For those of you that care, Nikola was kind of similar. Not really kind of similar. Down in the early, and came back up, and then went back down, up and down. A little bit of a yo-yo for Nikola today. They've had some good news in the last week or so. They got the CARB HVIP approval from California. It's like $240,000 to $288,000 discount or tax incentive or whatever it is. That goes back to the buyer of the vehicles, and that's going to be for the fuel cell vehicles, I believe. Also $40,000 for the federal tax incentive on top of that. Not to mention, Nikola had their investor lawsuit dismissed for the same reason that Elon Musk had his lawsuit where he was found not guilty, because you have to prove that you suffered damages because of certain things that were said. And that's very hard, and those lawsuits did not work out for the investors. So, too bad, so sad. Let's move on. So we are going to get this video going. And I see we are up to 61 whole people. Let's 65. So let's get that going up to even. So hit that like button, please. And if you want, hit the dislike button. I don't care. Oh, we just lost a like. I don't know how that happened. Somebody took their like back. So anyway, right. We started off in the northeast corner as usual. You can see that parking lot is nearly full. That is employees and construction workers. Construction workers are parked closer to the tent, and employees are further on. Derek says, hit the like. Todd says, big thanks. Ben waves at the bear. Josu got to test drive a GT today, and that is a fun drive. I've driven a GT. I liked it. The coupe is not going to be tri-motor. It will have 4. Well, we'll have to see about that. And we get a hello from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We saw a picture that claimed to be the Lucid Amp factory in Saudi Arabia. Wasn't sure if it was, but it looked like it very well could be. Out in the middle of the sand. Peter Rawlinson is waiting for Tesla Roadster to come out in order to show better performance. That's a possibility. I don't know if he's waiting for that, but they very well may take that into consideration. And I don't know how long the coupe is going to be unannounced, so they definitely can take advantage of that by knowing what they have to beat. Tesla Garage says the buyout rumors are spreading from Lucid to Canoe. A lot of potential buyers, including Legacy Autos, Big Oil, and Middle Eastern Crown Princes, to name a few. I'm going to go back real quick because I was yapping about the chat. Right here, let's see, we probably have 200 to 250 cars right here. There's about 43 in a row. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So about 240-ish cars right there. Those are all Lucids. Lucid Airs. We have not seen any Pures. I'll say, and just looking at this, I just cannot see any. We're going to zoom in on this for you guys. We're going to move this bar. Remember, a Pure is going to have a solid roof. It's going to match the car. And all of these look like glass roofs unless the car is black. But another way to tell is the silver trim panel that goes on the pillar. And all of these cars appear to have them. So no Pures. No Pures there. But we're going to be taking a closer look at the cars today to examine what we think. Well, he says it is the picture from Saudi Arabia, is the Lucid factory. It's near the King Abdullah port at the Red Sea. Yeah, someone either flew over in a plane or was able to fly very high in a drone. United States laws don't permit over 400 feet without special authorization, and we've never had a desire to do that. But it looked like it was from pretty high up. Rob asked, are we able to tell the difference between a GT and Air Touring? Not from the Air. If we got in and took a good look, we might be able to by rim style, though there's not much else that's going to give us that information. You can see towards the bottom of the screen, the Thornton Road improvements are still going on. Thornton Road itself looks to be mostly improved on the left-hand side. I forget the name of this road, but you can see all they have is the curbing all the way back there. And this road has been widened. It used to be kind of dirt or gravel, and they have taken all of that out, and they're making progress on there. But they're going to have to, they still have street lights and things to put up here before that's done. Now, we're going to start looking a little bit closer at these cars, and I'll tell you what we were looking for. We were thinking about it, and Riley, the pilot, the son, the mini bear, he said he kept seeing cars, Lucids, coming in and out of this parking lot, and I hadn't seen any. And he said that the cars were being replaced. Some cars were being taken out, and then new cars were being put in. So Arizona's a pretty dusty environment. Cars get dirty very quick. So we said, let's take a close look at the cars and find clean ones if we can, because if a car has been replaced, it's going to be clean. The roof is going to be clean. It's going to be very obvious. If it's been sitting there for just a couple of days, especially in this construction environment with a lot of dust flying around, the cars will be covered with dust. And it's very obvious, even from the air, when you have a glass roof that's black, it's going to be very easy to tell the dirty cars from the clean cars. So as we look at it, we can say, This car has just been parked here within the last couple of days, or this car has been sitting here for a while. So in a while could be a week. Your car can be covered in dirt in a week just sitting in this type of environment. So when we look at these cars, we can see some of these cars. If you look over here, and we'll zoom in to the section over here, you can see how dirty these cars are. They're very dirty, except this car right here is not. I don't know if you guys can see that one on your screen because I'm zooming in my entire screen. It's right here. This car. Right there. That car's clean. Oh wait, so is that one. And as we start to look around, we can see that might be a cleaner car. But let's move on a little bit. Now, most of these cars are dirty, but that only means that they've been sitting there for at least a week. Here's a car right here. This car's clean. There's no doubt in my mind that this car was washed and then parked here within the last 2 days. If it was more than 2 days, it would not look like this. It would have some layer of dirt on it. It would not be as shiny as it is. So this is probably a brand new produced car, which means that the car that was sitting there a couple days ago has been taken away and moved somewhere. So I don't think that they're just pulling out individual cars and moving them for my benefit, especially because it's not something we've looked at before. Here's another clean car up here. Here's a clean car right there. That one's very obvious that this car was just put there. A nice red. That car is very clean. And you can see the car next to it is very not clean. And all of these cars are dirty. So they've been here for a little bit. So what this tells us is that these cars have been pulled out, moved out, probably gone to a car hauler, and went out for delivery. And then these cars have been replaced. So production is still much higher than delivery. Reasons for that can be the reasons that they stated at the last earnings call, which was that they're having logistical problems getting these cars delivered properly and quickly. So their PDI group needs some help, and they still need some help, or maybe they are catching up, but they're producing so many that we just can't see a difference. They are still falling behind because we do see more cars on each visit. As we come down, we can see other cars. Here's another clean car. My mouse disappeared on me for a bit. Right there, that's another clean car, a nice silver. And here's just to show you the difference. This car looks like somebody got in there and turned the wiper on. You can see that right there. Somebody cleaned that windshield off. And you can see the difference in the dirt and the dirt levels. I 100% do not believe that these cars are slated for Saudi Arabia. I think that is how you bankrupt a company, is build $250 million worth of product and let it sit. People have been saying that these cars are going to Saudi Arabia in June or July. It does not make sense to build all of these cars. They all have VIN numbers. They're assigned to somebody or something to go somewhere. You cannot have that much inventory sit around. This can destroy a company. That is just too many dollars to go, we're going to let this sit there for another 6 months when some of these cars could have been sitting there for the past 3 months, because that's how long these cars have been piling up. But I do believe that cars are being pulled out, sent out for delivery, and then replaced with new ones. Production is just outpacing deliveries. I don't think that they're having the problem selling them. I think a lot of these cars are sold. They need to get them delivered and collect their money, because it's a big paycheck on every one of these. As we go through this, we'll see if we see any more dirty ones. I'm taking a look at the comments. Electric Family asks any pures. None that I've seen. And we can see that these are all GTs or Touring. Just can't tell you the difference from here. There's a clean one right there on the left that just went by. There weren't too many clean ones in this row. There's another one, that black one right there at the end. This one's a little bit cleaner than the others. And I think as we pull out, we're going to see there's another clean one right there. So you can see cars are being pulled out right here. There's a bright and shiny one. This car was just parked there very recently. Ben Panzer says, all for customer pickup. The car stacking is insane. Agreed. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. See, there's a clean car right there. Newly parked car right there. Now, if Lucid's trying to hide something, then they're going to come out in the next couple of days and wash every single one of these cars so that we can't tell the difference. So if that happens, then I'm going to become really suspicious. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Guillermo thinks that Lucid is waiting for its logistics team to ramp up. I agree. There's definitely been some failures in that, whether it's a logistics team or the planning of the logistics team, because there's obviously a problem with getting these cars out. Maybe it's just a storage problem at the vendors. I don't think so. I think once these cars land, they get picked up pretty quick. As you can see, there's more paving going on in the future employee parking lot. And one of the things that these employee parking lots are turning into is car parking lots. Brand new car parking lots, because it is spreading north. Tire tracks on clean cars. I didn't see the tire tracks. And we're going to take a look at these cars. Now, these cars were added in recently, because as of a couple weeks ago, there was nothing here. Well, they had some like a month ago, then they moved them out, and now there's cars back again. You see some sidewalk work going in for the construction on the road. This is how we make sure we don't cross the property line for Lucid, and also there's power lines right there, so we have to stay safe and not get near them. So let's take a look at these cars. You can see these cars, some of them are dirty, but they're not as dirty as some of the other cars. There's kind of a mix in there. But these cars haven't been there for, I'm going to say, more than 2 weeks. But these cars are relatively cleaner. And as we go through here, you can see there's a clean car right next to a dirty car. So the car is definitely, and there's a very dirty car. So those cars may have been moved from the other area. That's possible. Or they may have just been sitting somewhere else and they've decided to move them here. Henry Lima says, I'm sure all the cars built have been sold. The question is why they don't deliver them. Now, the thing is, not all the cars have been sold. There have been cars listed on Lucid's inventory. And these are from cancellations. And the reason why they just don't give it to someone else who's already ordered is because people have been assigned a VIN number. And they're just going to try and get them out of there with new sales. Here we can see, this is on the south end of the stamping building, I believe it was. Actually, no. This is the south end of the original building. This is the car tunnel, and they're putting an extension on here. As you can see, they're still putting up steel, and as they're putting on the floors. Yeah, so we've got a little extension going on. This is the car tunnel area. And we're still wondering if this area right here might end up having windows, which would be so cool if it was lit up nice and then we could see cars going by. Guillermo says, is it possible to check the wind speed while you record your videos? Will give a better impression about dirt cars. I don't think it has wind speed on the controller that we're using. There's another app that would give wind speed, but there's been plenty of times where we've been flying around and you could see dirt and dust flying around. Imel says it's a flat area. Anything around there will get dusty, windy, or not, which is true. We do get just a dirt film settle on our cars all the time. It doesn't take much for that to happen. Very low speed wind will do that. As we're coming around here, we're looking at the body in white building. The walls are almost complete. The roof work has been relatively slow up there. And we've got the whip building. The roof over there is getting closer to being done. And we still have this area in the center of the screen. Oh, I'm still zoomed in a little bit. This area is still cordoned off with nothing going on there, but it's all been graded. So we're waiting to see if something pops up there. There's nothing on the site plans to show that anything was to be built there. Now we've got the area where the cars are, these are the freshly built cars, we're assuming. We see one car hauler there on the right-hand side. And we can see the cars sitting there. And you can see that these cars are kind of mixed as far as we've got, here's like a brand new car, looks like, very clean. We've got these cars over here, they look kind of dirty. So it's the same thing over here. They're pulling cars out. Like this whole row looks, from here to here, looks fairly clean. That looks like a dirty one. So we know they have a car wash station. When they come out of the production factory, they are cleaned right away. And then they're stored somewhere. And you can see some of the cars look dirty and some of them don't. So I think there's the logistics of going, we've got a car hauler that's going to New York City. We need to get our 6 to 8 cars on a car hauler. Where are they? Let's get them on there and pull them out of the line wherever they are. And you can see all these cars are clean. These are cars that have just come out and are getting the last of their inspections. Over here you can see they're cleaning up a mess of something. Not sure where that came from. Andromeda says all those Lucid cars seem to have U.S. window stickers, so they're all destined for U.S. buyers. Maybe Canada as well. You know, I never really thought about that, but that's a good point. I imagine that they have different stickers for different countries, because on this, the Monroney stickers for the U.S. have the EPA guidelines on there as far as ratings and things like that, and that's EPA. That is a U.S. agency, and I don't think that people in England would give a damn what the U.S. government thinks for their ratings. They want to know what their standards are. So it's a good point. Boss says, any updates from Warren? No, I haven't spoken to him lately. So, Field of Lucid. Yes, it is like a field of dreams. If you build them, they will come. I see what you did there, Deeps. Ollie says they need to be more serious about delivering the 250 million worth of cars as soon as possible, as it might be a negative sign on the company. I do think that they're going to address this probably very vaguely in the earnings call on the 24th. They're always very vague. More distinct answers would be really appreciated. So I hope they get into it more than it's just a logistical problem. I want to hear more about this is what we're doing to fix it, and this is when we plan to see it fixed. Real quick on this, just for people who are wondering if anything's going on here, these are all construction workers. So even though we can't see a lot going on the outside, because most of the outside work is done, most of these people are working on the inside. Lots of people there. Ollie says sitting product doesn't make money. You're absolutely right. And it is going to have an effect on what the analysts thought that they were going to make as far as income, because they delivered a lot less cars than people were probably hoping for. Now, I understand that they only had a target goal of production, and it's hard to make a reasonable assessment of what they're going to have for income if they never gave guidance on delivered cars, which is what happened. So it's hard to say where the analysts are going to get their numbers from if they don't have guidance on delivered cars, only produced cars. Now, here's a couple interesting things. We're going to stop it right here. All these boxes that are coated in plastic, these are containers that were delivered. They're obviously sealed for a reason. The reason being is that there's probably production equipment in here. These could be anything from a paint line. We saw that at the Tesla Gigafactory. They came in boxes like this, and they were all wrapped with giant shrink wrap to keep them protected from the elements. There could be anything in here, but more than likely it's something that needs to be protected from the elements. So it's just not normal construction material. They don't cover them like that unless there's great big boxes of insulation, but it's not. These obviously have shapes to them, and these are prefabs of something. So we can see those right here. We can see some of that right here, but this is something for a production line. We see more of that right here. So this stuff is just being stored until it's ready to be installed. Boss says it's only been a year since the start of AMP2. This is insane speed, very bullish. It has been a little bit more than a year. I thought it was May of 21 that they started the grading on this. So I think we're getting close. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's been a little bit, it's been more than a year. They spent months grading and putting in pilings before they even put up the first piece of steel. Henry says, what are they going to do with the huge plant comes online if they can't even sell what they have? I think that they can sell it. I think they need to figure out how to deliver them. That's their problem right now, is delivery. Big thing on their earnings report is going to be what they have for reservations also. Reservations have to go up. They have to go up. It's very important that these numbers go up, or maybe even stay the same. If they've delivered 2,000 cars, then they just, I don't want to see the reservation number go down. I think the parked cars are already sold to Saudi Arabia and considered delivered and sitting there for slow delivery. That's what I think. Okay, well, that's an interesting way to look at that. If they're already sold to Saudi Arabia, why are they not being delivered? Why are they sitting there? If you had paid $250 million for something, why would you not ship them? And that parking lot was filled. There was over 1,000 cars in the southeast parking lot during the earnings call for Q3. So I'm just going to rewind the video. There was 1,000 cars. They were asked about it, and the answer was that they're going to get them delivered. It's just they're having logistical issues with their PDI group, pre-delivery inspection, and trying to streamline that and get these cars delivered. So if these cars were going to Saudi Arabia and they were sold and they're considered delivered, first of all, it would have shown up for Q4 as delivered cars, which you can't, because there's more cars in the parking lot than they. Well, no, there's not more cars in the parking lot than they delivered, but there is pretty close to that. That would mean that that they really didn't deliver any cars to U.S. people. So I don't think that quite works out, and I don't think there's any reason to store them. The only thing that's going to happen with cars sitting there is that there's a potential for something to happen to them. They want to get the cars out of their hands because they're still there. It's still their responsibility, even if they've been paid on it. Jim Shelton wonders if the PIF is going to buy out all of our shares. Do you think the company will go private? I think it's possible. And I don't know what that means for the stock price, because I don't know what they would be buying the rest of the company out at, but it could be beneficial. We'll have to wait and see. Waleed says, maybe waiting to reach a certain number and ship together. not really how it works. If they want to ship one car overseas, they can ship one car. All they got to do is find a spot on one ship that's going across the ocean. They don't have to wait for all of these cars. They're going to pay per spot, not per boat. So it would just make sense to get these things out of here. Sam thinks that, don't worry, Saudi will scoop up those cars soon. Well, they're just getting older. Remember, if these cars aren't being rotated out, like I believe that they are, or some of them, a lot of these cars are 2022 cars. These cars there was 1,000 cars at the end of the third quarter. So these cars were produced in 2022. These are 2022 Lucid Airs if they're not being rotated out. And I imagine that they're going to try and rotate them out as quick as possible. 4Q, it's not the same cars. Cars come and go from the Southeast lots. Yes, that is my belief. Now, some of them may be the same. It's possible, but I don't believe that all these cars are the same cars that we've been looking at for the last several months. Guillermo says Lucid hasn't met the regulations for the kingdom. They just certified the car for the EU. Okay. That could be a holdup, but you don't produce the cars for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia if you can't sell them there and have all that money sitting there. That is so much money. Deep says, where do they ship out of, San Diego or Texas? Not an answer that I have. I don't know. Andromeda says, most likely the port of Los Angeles. There's a lot of cars, so they need a big port. That's probable, too. I know that cars get shipped to LA a lot, and they do ship them out there. And I don't even know if they ship cars out of Galveston in Texas or anywhere else in Texas. I know that the rail lines often go past us, and we see cars on them, and they're headed towards LA, going across the country. All right, and there we are taking a look at the cars, looking for the clean and dirty ones. Is the white Pure still by the car wash? That's a good question. Didn't look for it, but we're pretty sure that was a test car. But I did look in the area around the production area where they come out, and I did not see any Pures that are sitting around waiting. So I think the announcement of the Pure back in December, they're being delivered. I really think it was a handful, and they've gone back to making the other cars. I think it was just so that during the earnings call they can say that they started production of the Pure, even though there's probably 5 delivered. So I think it's just something they wanted to mark off their list as accomplishments for 2022. So as you can see, we're looking at the dirty cars, and there's a clean one, and there's a clean one, and here's a clean one right there on the corner. So we see clean cars. There's a clean one, and it's very obvious. Ben says, if indeed the buyout is true, get ready for a hail of lawsuits. Will people sue over everything? What do you think they would sue over if there was a buyout? I think the people who bought in at 60 and are now going to get 20 are going to be upset. I mean, I would be, but it's just something that it's always a possibility with any company. So, all right. I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to on the earnings call is probably the guidance for the next year. Oh, everybody look at this right here. We've got a new car coming in right here. Oh, that didn't work out. Well, we can see a car is getting put in the lineup right there. So they continue to put the cars in there, and they fill the empty spots as the cars are taken out. And just as a reminder, there was a car hauler there today. There was a car hauler there on our last flyover on Monday. So cars are leaving. And let's zip through this a little bit as we get our bearings so we don't crash or step on Lucid's feet and fly over their property, because they think we have cooties. See, a lot of these cars are newer, they're fairly cleaner, a lot of them are very clean, and some of them are not. Tesla Garage says, so the renewed money rebate may or may not be helping Lucid. Well, no. Excuse me. None of their cars qualify for the rebate anymore. So I don't think that's going to help them, and I don't see Lucid lowering the price anytime soon. I would be surprised if they were to do that any more than they have, because they've offered some incentives on some of the cars, especially the ones sitting in inventory that have lost their reservation. All right, let's move this on. I'm going to speed that up a little bit. There's the car tunnel with the expansion of the building over there. What that expansion is for, I don't know. That was not part of the site plans. So, not sure. All right, MD says that the incentive on their site right now is $7,500 plus 2 years of free Electrify America charging. The 2 years is offered on all the cars. Whether you have a reservation or not, the 2 years is part of the plan. By the way, for those of that you don't know, the Electrify America free charging that comes with some cars, and I don't know if this is for Lucid, but I do know it's for the Polestar and for the Hyundai. You get 2 years of free charging, but it's only 30 minutes a day. Once you go over those 30 minutes, and it's minutes, not kilowatts. Once you go over those 30 minutes, they start charging you the regular rate, which is 43 cents a kilowatt, which is also going up to 48 cents per kilowatt very shortly. So 30 minutes on a 50 kilowatt charger, if that's what you're stuck with, ain't crap. All right. 30 minutes on a 150 kilowatt charger on a Mach-E, on a Polestar, which is only 250 mile range, is enough to fill it up halfway. I was at an Electrify America last week with a Polestar, which was sitting at about 15 to 20%, maybe it was 20%, and I had to charge for 30 minutes on one of my free plans, and then I had to switch over to another free plan for another 30 minutes, and that got me to about 90, a little over 90, maybe 93%. So if you're getting 30 minutes of free charging per day on a Lucid Air, you're getting a quarter of a tank. So if it's only 30 minutes, and that's something to consider. I don't use the free charging that often, because I will charge at home, or I have other charging options that are free to me. But that is something that if you're counting on that, you might want to look into and see if it's 30 minutes or unlimited per day. Ollie says they need 300 haulers to move cars in the lots. 300 times, let's say 6, that's 18. Yeah, that's probably a good number, 300. And they have to get them in there and get them out before any more cars come out. Deep says, do you think they'll put charging stations in a place of work? I know a lot of employers are putting them in. I think that will run into a battle of who gets to it first. It might make people show up earlier to work so that they can get to the free charging. Electric Family says if Lucid can't make a profit on 80,000 vehicles, it will then fail, just like Tesla. Oh wait, they didn't make a profit at 80,000 vehicles. Now, I don't think you can just throw out a random number and say you have to make this before you're going to have a profit. So I'm not going to go with that. Tesla says, oh wait, what are we talking about here? Lucid factory in China? From Guillermo? I don't think Lucid should, I don't know. I mean, start another factory and then start it in China. You've got to give up a lot, or you got to have a lot of negotiating power to build in China. China has a lot of rules and laws and a lot of bribes that you have to go through in order to own your property in China. And Tesla went through a lot and had to give up a lot. And China gave up a lot more than they normally would also. And that's what resulted in Giga Shanghai. So Tesla Garage says, I've never built in China right now. Perhaps a lease of existing space maybe. The risk is growing by the hour. That is a fact. I would agree with that. But the thing is, to import into China, there is a large tariff to bring cars into China. So if they want to get cars in there, but I think for them to do that, they would need to have the lower cost cars. I know China is building wealth every day, but I'm not sure how widespread it is enough to bring a $150,000 car into the mix. Even a pure, very expensive car for China. There are a lot of cars that are extremely cheap there for basic transportation. There's a lot of people in China. So it's something that you would really have to have someone who's good at statistics and analytics and find out how many people can afford that car and how many people would buy that car in order to make a risky investment into China. And right now, I think if they finish this factory, this phase of the factory, and they finish Saudi Arabia, building a third factory might be getting a little bit ahead of themselves. Martin, with a Chinese last name, so maybe he's got more insight. There's no way Lucid can sell their vehicles at the current prices in the competitive Chinese market. I agree with that. As I was just saying, even Tesla actually sells their cars cheaper in the Chinese market than they do here in the United States and in other places. Their equivalents in China are cheaper. China gave up a lot to learn Tesla's technology. Yeah, it makes you really wonder about that because their EV market really started to boom once Tesla got in there. 4Q says, as a luxury car, the Chinese people want the car more if it's not built there. Interesting. I think China has the ability to make luxury cars. We'll have to see. I mean, the Neo and Xiaopeng, some of those cars are, they're definitely a step up from what we used to see from China. But like, there's other cars like the Wulang that, they are this big. And I mean literally this big. I couldn't fit in it. But, a lot of people in China have a more logical mindset and they buy a car for transportation, not for the status symbol. And they buy for transportation partly because that's what they can afford and that's just what they need. Does Tesla send Chinese cars here? No, they do not send them to the United States, but they do send them to other places in Europe. Usually, 1 month out of each quarter is destined to be shipped to other places in Europe, though that is going to change now that Giga Berlin is opened up. So that is going to come to an end, and then there'll be more cars just staying in China. 4Q says, source, my wife is Chinese. I like those types of sources. All right. So, guys, that's going to be about the end of it today. We're going to see the Patreon screen come up here in a moment, or it already did. But I want to thank all my Patreons. I want to thank everyone who was here today. I'm going to leave here and probably go buy a car today or something, because that's what I do. The Turo business is keeping me extremely busy, and that's probably why you guys have seen a little bit less on the videos, and I apologize for that. But I've got to do things that actually make me money, because this YouTube thing is not exactly sporting the big life for me. So if we're a little sparse sometimes with these videos, I apologize. But the Turo fleet is looking to pick up car number 27 today or tomorrow, and on Friday, car number 28. So it's keeping us quite busy. We have the Super Bowl here in town. Go whoever your team is. Kansas City. Yeah. Go Kansas City. That's what my son-in-law likes, so we're going to root for him and them. It's not really him. He's not playing. He's not on the team. So I want to thank everyone again. And Nikola Flyover is coming shortly. That will be posted probably within the hour. So thanks, everyone. Oh, look at that. Photon Zen just did the super chat right at the last minute. I appreciate that. And he says, here's something to help sport the big life. Well, I appreciate that. Hats off. All right. Oh, Mike M. Oh, my God. You guys are going to make me stay on. Okay. Mike M just threw a super chat at me with no comment. So whatever he's trying to say, that was it. But I do appreciate that. And Henry says, what are the most popular cars on Turo? Make a video of that, Bear. I really should start making some Turo videos. I've been doing it almost a year and a half now. Went from one car to 27, 28. And it seems like it happened overnight. And I probably could make a lot of Turo videos, and none of you guys, well, almost none of you guys would really be that interested in it, but it would bring in a lot more viewers. But it's that time that keeps taken away, trying to get everything done. A lot of logistics in getting cars ready, cleaned, set up for delivery. And maybe we'll figure out how to start doing that in the future. And Boss USA's another super chat, and he says thank you. And I say thank you right back. I appreciate that. I love it when you guys shower me with money. I'm going to take all these, cash them in as singles, and just lay in it for a little bit, because that's what I do in my off time, which really there is none, so I don't really do that. But Turo videos, yes, I really need to work on that, because I could definitely come up with quite a few different stories and different things to share what I've learned. I just sometimes feel like there's a lot more people who know a lot more about it than I do. And maybe I'm not the guy that should do it, but maybe I am. 4Q says, get a GoPro headset and just turn it on, and nobody wants to watch it. Nobody wants to watch me just clean a car. That's not exciting. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for being here today, tonight, and we'll be back next week. We'll have more videos of the flyovers. The Nikola video will be coming out later today. So thank you, everyone, and bye-bye for now. See you.